Perfect.
What's going on, everyone? I am so excited. I'm joined with Amanda DiMartino, also known as Resellmaven on both YouTube and Instagram. And I'm hoping a little later on you can actually give us a backstory because I actually don't even know the backstory behind your name, Resellmaven.
Okay.
Because I'm boring. I'm just my name on YouTube, but you're more clever with this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely give you some backs. I mean, there's no special story to it. I think that when I was creating a name, I don't even know how I came remotely to that, but I think I was Googling like, what are other words for like someone who knows things, someone who's like
Okay.
experienced or has some level of idea of what they're talking about other than like expert or pro or something like that. And I came across Maven and I was like, I actually really like the way that sounds. And I was like, all right, I think I just was like resell. I think first I was like reseller Maven. And I was like Resellmaven. And it just stuck. And here we are.
It's funny whenever you pick a name, like everyone starts from nothing, right? And so you always think about, well, what name should I pick? And it's more of like, it doesn't really honestly matter what the name is. It's just once people say it so many times, it's like, oh yeah, that's Resellmaven or that's Goji Davenport. I made it easier. Just pick my name.
It's so funny because people will call me Maven because they think that's my name. And it's not. Obviously, my name's Amanda, but yeah.
So we are joined with Amanda, aka Resellmaven. Amanda was a speaker at the Books and Beyond Resellers Conference in 2024. Her title of her 20-minute talk was How to Dominate WhatNot. She did so well and was such a fan favorite. We had to invite her back because popular demand was like, is Amanda coming back? Is Amanda coming back? So Amanda's going to be back for 2025, and Books and Beyond is going down in Las Vegas once again, October 10th through 12th. So make sure you grab tickets if you're interested. But I have a bunch of questions to give a lot of value to anyone who wants to know what that bookseller. But well, we got Justin Parker in the house saying, woohoo, let's go.
I can't see the chat here. Let me open it on my computer so I can see the chat.
Yeah, so you can see the chat. It's really small because you're live streaming from your phone, which, by the way, don't you do your WhatNot streams from your phone too?
Yes, everything's from my phone. People ask all the time, like, what should I use? And I'm like, just use your phone. I promise you, it's so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. So link down below. We have a couple of things. One, we have tickets to Books and Beyond. If you're interested, again, we'll talk a lot about WhatNot and mention Books and Beyond throughout this sort of live interview. We also have a link down below in the chat if you want to become a WhatNot bookseller and you want to support Amanda after hearing her story and how she's really just crushing it. What do they get with that link, Amanda?
I actually think they get, I know with the link to be a buyer, I think they get $15 free credit. As a seller, I don't know if they actually get a credit to be a seller. It's more of a support for somebody that you want to support. It's a referral link for the person who's referring you. You do get, there are some levels I know with some people who have sponsorships with WhatNot. People can get immediate approval and that kind of thing. I don't know if I'm on that level yet. No one's ever reached out to me and told me so. But with referral links, you do tend to kind of rise to the top of the application pool. And they've gotten a lot better at doing 48-hour responses. So it used to be, it could be months before you heard back, and you'd be lucky if you heard back in a week. Now, I think they're pretty good at getting pretty much everyone responded to within 48 hours. So it's really just a kickback for me and just kind of getting you off on the right foot. And yeah, if you like my content and just support me as a reseller and someone sharing information about WhatNot, it just really helps me out.
Yeah, matter of fact, I just looked at your channel. You're like over 5,000. I think, are you at almost 6,000 now? I was like,
yeah, I think about like 5.6-ish. Yeah.
You just blew past me. And I've watched a little bit of your recent videos and you're getting tons of views on it. So there's a lot of demand for this type of book selling.
Yeah.
One thing that, Avery, Victor, and Steve and I want to do with Books and Beyond is obviously bring diversity to the book selling conference, because there's way more than just selling books on Amazon. There's books on eBay and now WhatNot and Tango Books, and like there's so much there's so many opportunities to make money with book selling. And so I'm not an expert in WhatNot book selling. That's why we have Amanda. So let's just dive right into some questions. Is that cool?
Yeah, go for it. I'm an open book. If you've never been to my YouTube channel, please check it out. It is like the unfiltered, here's everything in a very blunt, honest, and straightforward way. And I don't really like sugarcoat a lot of stuff. So I'm going to tell you exactly how it is. And I tell you off of my experience, everyone's different, but I've been doing it for about 3 years and I love it. And so I have a lot of experience of how it's grown and changed over the years and what you kind of should be kind of aiming towards to find success on the platform if you are interested in selling.
And you actually do this full time on WhatNot, right?
Yes.
This is Yeah. So you don't even have another source. This is your source of income.
I sell a little on eBay, very,
Okay.
very, very mild on eBay. And I sell every now and again through Facebook with old listings that I have that are just kind of like replenishable items that I always come across, and I'll just sell
Okay.
them. But yeah, I would say 99% of my income is WhatNot.
That's
Full
great.
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, my YouTube channel is online book arbitrage. It's buying
Yep.
books on Amazon to resell on Amazon. So my audience is probably honestly like, what the heck is Whatnot? And so maybe they've seen an ad because Whatnot does a great job with a bunch of ads. But if you could just give us the rundown of how, what exactly is the Whatnot platform
Yeah.
through the lens of selling books?
Yes. So through the lens of selling books, we are a very niche category on the larger platform of Whatnot, which is basically a social live selling platform. So the idea is that you can go live and sell a variety of items at any given point throughout the day, 24 hours a day. There's always going to be thousands of shows on in a variety of different categories. And you can pick out the categories you want to shop in, find some sellers you like, and tune into their shows weekly. Most people go live, if not daily, weekly. And yeah, you get to just shop and browse and interact and chat with people who are shopping for similar things that you have interest in. You can get a lot of great recommendations and reviews from the word of mouth from people right there live in a chat. You also have a seller giving kind of like a QVC style where they're really showcasing the items they're selling. So they aren't like static photos like on eBay or Amazon where you're kind of hoping it's what you think it is. And then you get it and it's something different. And then you also get to build a relationship with the sellers. A lot of people have a lot of really good like social, parasocial friendships and relationships through Whatnot. So again, it is live selling. It's selling in general. There is a static marketplace as well. So you don't have to go live. You can just do listings, but it's a social network of people who can just help you feel, there's a social component to it, but there's also a social selling component to it. It is helpful when the chat is saying, I read that book and it was really good. This is my favorite series. I love this author. That kind of stuff pushes stuff. And so you have people in your chat helping you almost move your product for you. So it's a lot of fun. Very interactive.
It's such an interesting concept because of the fact that it's not a static. I mean, I know you said you could do static listings if you want, but the idea of it is for it not to be that. It's for it to be live. It's for people to hang out. It's like to build a real community where it's almost like a weekend call with the boys or the girls, and you're like, hey, it's almost like a book, like a book club or something where you're talking about books. But obviously, the goal is to sell these books to people who kind of join your live stream. So for you particularly, what kind of books are you targeting to sell? Like, what are you trying to find at the thrift store, which would match well with Whatnot is?
So this is what's so pretty about Whatnot is there are so many different niches of books that you can sell. There are definitely a few different main niches in the Whatnot book category. So when you go in, I would say there are on average any given day upwards of 100 shows that would probably start from midnight to or 12 a.m. to midnight, at least just in that one category. And those are going to be all different sellers too. So there's a lot of different things you can bring to the platform. I personally sell more modern fiction, and it is mostly all ages. So I have books as little as like little board books for babies. I really target that like grandparent audience or new parent audience. And then I can go into your picture books, your educational nonfiction type books for kids, chapter books, beginning chapter books, series books for middle grades, all the way into the young adult, vampires, romance, fantasy type stuff, and then into the adult for all ages. And I do all genres, not just fiction. I do like some nonfiction memoirs, biographies, things like that as well. And then really the only thing that I stick away from is I don't do textbooks or anything like that. So for all of my Amazon sellers, you're safe from me. I'm not taking your textbooks. I don't do a lot of obscure, very niche stuff like historical war fiction or religious. There's a huge theology type of niche on there, religious material. I don't do any of that really. I do sometimes sprinkle it in because it makes money, but it's not something I focus on. So I am modern, more popular, new adult and young adult and kid fiction.
It's so funny that you say that because the exact types of books that you sell, I would tell people on my channel, you should avoid these books.
Do not pick these up.
Yeah.
I know
Why? Why? Because they're very popular, but also they're kind of cheaper because they're like mass market in a way. They're not obviously mass market
They're
paperbacks,
like
but like
mass produced.
mass produced, and so therefore it's very hard to sell as an Amazon. One, Amazon probably sells them brand new pretty cheap, and it just makes it hard with all the Amazon fees, right, to even squeeze any money
Yeah.
out of any of these books. So what's so fascinating is that we can both thrive. It's like I'd be interested in the textbooks. You don't even touch those. And
Yeah.
then I'd say, here you go. Here's all the children's books and the chapter books and the fiction books, and you can have all that and you can
Yes.
still thrive as well.
And it's
Now,
very little crossover. I have an Amazon seller who is sources where I source, and he has recently come into our local thrift store, and he has been here for about maybe a little over a month or two. And it's been very fascinating to watch the stuff that he picks up. And there are things in his cart that I'm like, I would have picked that up. But most of the time, it's very little actual overlay, to a point. Even today, I went behind him because the books weren't out right away when I got there. So I left, went to a different thrift store, and came back. When I came back, he was already gone, and I can always see in the end of the bins what his his reject pile was, and you can see like all the textbooks lined up. Everything's all
yeah.
barcode up, of course, very Amazon coded. And then there were just sprinkled in just a couple little books that he just did it, and I'm like, these are like $8 books, $10 books, $6 books, And so for him, yeah, listing it for $5 or $6 or $7 on Amazon is not really going to net him a profit. For me, listing it for $6 or $7 or $8, and it could even potentially sell for more because it's a live auction, is very, very worth it for me. So
Yeah, and I think most people who would think about transitioning would obviously want to know what the fee structure is. So if someone's listening to this and they're not really sure again much of anything about whatnot, what does that look like, picking up a book for $1 at a thrift store and selling it for $6? What does that look like in terms of the shipping, the fees, what you
yeah.
would be netting in profit?
Um, So, not to be an Amazon hater, because I did start on Amazon, but it's a lot better than Amazon. I can
Yeah.
promise you that. You're going to keep a lot more of your money for sure. So, you are paying a pretty basic fee structure, and it is 8% on the price of the item that you sell. So, if you sell your item for $10, you're paying 8% on that $10.
Okay.
Then you're going to pay an overall additional 2.9, I round up and say 3% on all of like the fees and the shipping that the buyer pays. So even if your shipping stuff that's really heavy, and you're paying, lots of money on shipping, you are paying a small percentage of your fees on that. And then so that's about 11%. So it's 11% is kind of like the base for any and all of your sales. And then you are paying an additional 30 cents for every single time you run a transaction on the site, which is
Okay.
pretty standard for most platforms. So if you run a single auction, it can be an auction for one book, it's 30 cents. It can be an auction for a bundle of books that has 20 books in it, it's only 30 cents. So it's every single transaction is 30 cents. So
And it's just a transaction. It's not just like if the book doesn't sell, you don't get charged 30 cents,
nope,
right?
not at
That's
all.
the great
No,
thing about
it's
it.
once the payment is approved. So whether they buy something from your marketplace, they buy something from the auction, or whatever. Yeah, those are really the two main options. Those are going to be, it's 30 cents. And it's a small fee. It adds up. Like for example, I did an all auction show the other day, and I think I want to say it was like 130 or 140 individual auctions. And so my fees were like $35 or $40 right off of the top,
Yeah.
because that's 30 cents for every single auction. So it does add up, and that's why I do bundling. I also do things a little different with bundling, saves people on money on shipping and saves me on fees. But then, yeah, the shipping is all paid by the buyer. So you don't have to pay that. You can offer to pay shipping. You can also
Okay.
offer max shipping. So maybe you sell really light items, and you know that you can they could buy like 300 of the items that you're selling, and it's not going to exceed a flat rate box that's going to cost $9.21. You could offer flat rate shipping for something like that. For us
That's
with books,
crazy.
can't do that as much. If you're doing small mass markets, maybe you can do some flat rate shipping. But for me, we do media mail, and yeah, buyer pays all costs. Taxes are all taken by WhatNot and everything. So the only thing, it's just like eBay. They make a purchase, it goes to a dashboard. You go to your dashboard, you see what they purchased, their shipping address and everything is there. You type in the dimensions and the weight of the package after you package it up. It prints out a label for you. You pop it on the box and take it to the post office. So
Yeah,
very
I think the really cool thing is, again, the buyer pays the shipping, and that seems to be sort of the expected norm, right? So if let's say you do buy a book from the thrift store for 50 cents and you do run the live auction and it does sell for $5, that's just $5 for the book. and then on
Mhm.
top of it, the customer would then pay for the shipping, right?
Yep.
And so you said around like 13% is like what the fees are going to be, right? So like
11%.
11%. Okay.
Mhm.
So 11% on so buying for 50 cents or a dollar, flipping for $5 with those kind of fees is insane
Yeah.
margin. That's a crazy margin.
Yeah.
Now, I would imagine you don't sell very many books or bundles for a lot of money, but again, the margin's so crazy that it's just a it's just doing a lot of volume, right? Just
Yeah.
selling a bunch of books that way. So,
I literally had to stop doing the math years ago because it was just like hilarious. And I think we actually talked about this a little bit last year where
yeah.
I used to take bundles that I would sell and I would go, okay, this was a bundle of books someone bought. Let's say there's 12 books in this pile. And I sold this bundle for $25. I used to go through and just like do the math because my book prices are pretty standard. It's 25 cents for paperbacks, 50 cents for hardbacks. And then unfortunately, I have had to do a lot more cherry picking lately than I usually do because of this new Amazon guy and just some other
I
people.
see.
I've been saying I've been training my competition a little bit. I definitely been giving out a lot of information, and I have met a handful of people in person who watch my videos and do what I
Wow.
do. So it's very interesting. Locally, my competition is here as well, but so sometimes I do have to pay up, but I
Okay.
started doing the math and I would go, okay, okay, I paid $3.25 for this stack of books, and I would do that over and over again. It'd be like, okay, this was a $46 bundle and I paid $12 for everything. It was just
Yeah.
always like, it was just such a large margin. So
Yeah.
now the difference is I'm doing a lot of manual labor. It's a lot of manual lifting and laborious work with all of the books and the bundles. It's not selling one book that you OA'd for, $12 and you're selling it for 76 and you didn't even touch it. It went to a
Yeah.
prep center and it's already on Amazon.
Yeah.
That is definitely a perk of OA and Amazon in general, putting everything in a box and shipping it off and then going, it's good to go. I don't have that luxury, but yes, the margins are great. And so I'll take that. It's
Yeah.
scalable in that sense.
Generally, I would say the more labor intensive it is, the more margin that you can generally get out of it. And like I said, the whole goal of Books and Beyond is to bring a bunch of different types of booksellers because a book selling conference. And again, I think this is an amazing way, an amazing opportunity for people to crush it. Because again, I think if you were to compare the number of Amazon booksellers to the number of WhatNot booksellers, it's probably lopsided in Amazon's favor because it's so much easier, in my opinion, to do that. Because it does seem like on WhatNot, you do kind of have to have a little bit of a following, or at least it's harder, I think, to get your first sell than it is on Amazon,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
And in the chat, we have Fireball Flippers. Not sure if you know who that is, but she goes, "Hey." So,
That's another
uh,
Amanda in the house.
yeah. And we also have Chris in the house. We also have Justin in the house as well. And
Welcome, Amanda.
am I okay? Can you hear me okay, or am I kind of quiet?
Yeah,
Are we
I can
good?
hear you just fine.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. If you have any questions again about WhatNot book selling, make sure you put them down in the chat. And if you're just joining us again, Amanda is going to be a speaker at Books and Beyond in 2025, October 10th through 12th in Las Vegas, Nevada. Again, tickets down below if you're interested in going and showing up and
You guys
talking to
don't want to
Amanda.
miss it. It was so much fun last year, so valuable. It has my favorite thing too. I'll give you guys a little backstory, very short backstory. I don't tell a lot of people this, but I used to be in the MLM space for a long
Oh,
time, and
okay.
I am now safe and free from that lifestyle. But I used to be in the MLM space, and conferences were really big, and meetups were really big, and that energy, that vibe, the being around like-minded people who sell specifically what you sell. If you are a bookseller, you don't want to miss this type of stuff. If you can't make it this year, definitely plan to come next year because it's just such a vibe. It's invaluable, honestly. I left and I was just like, yes, I was so ready to crush goals and finish out the year strong. So it's a lot of fun for sure.
One of the things when it comes to book selling, at least for me and my personal experiences, is pretty lonely. Like I tell people in real life what I do, and most people look at me like, "Wait, do people still
Oh,
read books, or
I know. There's
are we doing
value in
ebooks?"
books. There's money in books.
And so there's just not a lot of energy around the
Yeah.
people who I'm around the most. So that's why, we wanted to bring an event so we could bring everyone who has the same sort of energy around book selling. And it does leave you amped up and pumped up. I mean, when I left last September, I was like, dude, this is crazy. This is awesome. And I got to meet a lot of awesome people. And again, now I can call Amanda my friend, and
Yeah.
now she's coming back once again.
I
So
was shocked at how many people did things so differently and also the same, and the systems and the structures and the growth and the potential, and like just seeing it on a larger scale. Like you can see it online, you can follow people who do this, but when you talk to these people and to be able to like network with them in person and to be able to like pick their brain and just kind of almost be in awe of like what, like some of the systems I saw was like goals, just
yeah,
such good goals and inspiration. So yeah,
I'm pretty
it's
sure you really kicked it off with FBA Dave as well. And FBA Dave was he's
yes.
actually a bulk bookseller on Amazon. And what's interesting is on your YouTube channel, you recently tried to do bulk, and I kind of wasn't able to watch every single video the full length, but I kind of got a general gist that it was a lot of work. And I'm kind
Yes.
of interested in your experience. What do you think having gone to Books and Beyond actually maybe
Yes.
influenced that decision a little bit?
It did. It did. And it's actually something I want to talk. I'm still like planning exactly what I want to talk about and how I want to do my talk this year. But one of the things I think I'm going to talk about is that concept of bulk selling, because I know there are going to be a lot of Amazon sellers. And I want to talk about how you can use bulk selling and pallet buying to sell on Whatnot and to
Yeah.
offload those duds, as we like to call them. Duds, I think, was the hot word of the year last year. Like we duds was like the big topic, and it was something I learned that there's a lot of now after doing it, I see it with my own eyes. There's a lot of duds when you buy pallets. There are books that you can't sell, there's books you can't move, and you got to try to do something with them. And so that was probably the biggest like lesson learned through it was, wow, I have a great way to offload books, but I also am missing, I don't do Amazon, so pallets aren't as valuable for me. They are not as valuable for me. And so that was my big lesson. I definitely, if you want to watch that, it's a 4-part series on my channel, and I have a playlist for it. But it is just, it was a fun journey, and it was inspiring to see everyone and how they did pallets and how they utilized, you know, just kind of, it was a lot of it was fun and exciting because you didn't know what you're going to get. You never know what you're going to get when you buy a pallet. And that was like, I guess the big lesson learned is one of the pallets had a big encyclopedia set at the bottom that was not worth it. Some encyclopedia sets are. This one was not. That added a lot of weight to to one palette. One palette had half DVDs in it. I didn't want any DVDs. Half of them,
Wow.
you don't know what you're always going to get unless you have a reputable person that you are working with closely. And I, have no regrets about what I did. I loved the experience. I learned so much. But I have a lot to now bring, I feel like, to this topic of the Amazon world, now having physically done it and having worked my way through 6 pallets. 6 Gaylords it was a lot. It was
Yeah,
very
6 Gaylords is
interesting.
a lot, and certainly at Books and Beyond, there will be bulk booksellers there as well who do many, many Gaylords.
Yeah.
So that's the cool thing about Books and Beyond is that there is going to be this sort of diversity of different types of book selling, and so I'm excited about that. Now, one other thing that I also did want to mention is that again, Amanda is going to be going to Books and Beyond. If anyone does sign up and really liked what you heard today, and you felt like Amanda gave a lot of value, then whatever email you sign up with, just go ahead and send me an email at joji@bookmind.co. And if you just tell me the email that you signed up with to grab a ticket to Books and Beyond, what I'll do is I'll actually send you Amanda's talk from last year, because I think you gave a lot of value in
Yeah.
last year's talk. It was, again, the title was How to Dominate Whatnot. And of course, a year has gone by since then, but a lot of that information is still very relevant. So
Super
if you're
relevant.
like, wow, there's a lot of value here, I definitely want to try this out, and I want to know what she talked about at Books and Beyond last year, then again, send me an email at
Yeah.
joji@bookmind.co and just tell me the email you used to sign up to buy a ticket with, and I'll just send you that recording. Because again, I think that has a lot of value, and that'd be
Yeah.
very helpful.
It's a timeless piece. You could play it 10 years from now, and I think it would still be really relevant. It breaks down not just what Whatnot is, how you as an individual can sell on Whatnot, and the different strategies you can use. All the fee structure. It breaks it all down. It's a great intro, and yeah, so that's a
We
great
have
one.
the Beard King picker in the house as well. Some
Yeah,
users I'm not super familiar with, so they must be coming from you,
yeah,
and they've got a crown in the chat. So hello,
yeah,
welcome. Now, you were again a speaker at Books and Beyond last year in 2024. 1 year has passed. Something that always happens in business is the evolution of platforms, evolution of the way that selling works. So 1 year later, have there been any major changes with Whatnot? And yeah, what has the experience been in the last year?
Um, it's funny. We're about to have a special guest.
That's okay. Special guests, especially cats, are allowed.
You're allowed. Um, do not jump up there. I would say nothing major has changed. There
Okay.
have definitely been some changes. Some changes that people were like out, like this is outrageous. What a crazy change. Some changes that people thought were really good, which is great. It is a growing platform. They're still, from what I understand, within their like 5-year plan. So they're like coming up to the end of their first, 5 years in business of really like working out kinks and stuff. So I would say, I don't want to be negative. I am very critical of whatnot. And
Oh,
so
okay.
what I would say is that, not if you are new and you are like, what is this? And I want to get interested, but I don't want to get lost in the like any of the deep details. I just want to know the basics and to make a decision if it's for me or it's not for me. Or you've already decided you want to do it and you're ready to jump in. What I would say is if you can just stick to the idea that you are a salesperson, you're trying to tell somebody on the other side of your screen why they should buy the item that you have, and that you can offer it at a fair price, a market value price, and you can have good customer service on the back end and shipping, like you ship out on within the 2 days, and you can provide good customer service if something goes wrong. You got it. That's all you need to know. That's all of it into a nutshell. So things can change. I wouldn't say there's anything mentionable that changed for the good or the worse. The big
Okay.
one is just glitching and growing. They're a growing platform. So you got to just roll with the glitches and the headaches, and just keep doing what you know how to do.
Yeah. And are your main sources right now actually just going to the thrift store? Is it mainly just that's the number one for you? Is just going to Goodwill? Okay.
Yeah, I thought maybe I would do the palettes again. Like I was like, oh, maybe this is something I'll do like every 2 months. But I feel as though for the value and the workload, yeah, cherry picking and the bins. If you guys are familiar with the Goodwill outlet, the bins, that's what I usually source
Yeah.
from.
And so you in the beginning, you kind of mentioned there are a lot of different types of whatnot booksellers in terms of the genres of books that you can sell. And I know you said you're more of like the sort of fiction. And I know that there's a wide range of what you sell, but what are the other sort of niches that you really see people do quite well with that? Because again, even though you are bringing diversity with whatnot, you also are very specific in your niche and whatnot, right? So
Yeah.
like, what are some of the other genres that you think really crush it with whatnot?
So I would say religious theology type stuff does really, really well. There's a great market for it. Those shows always have a
Okay.
ton of buyers in it. And if you know what you're talking about and you know who these people are that have written these books, um, those do really well. There's just
Okay.
it's not enough people. Also, antiquarian. I think you know
Yeah.
Max.
Max Sherback. Yeah.
Yeah, and he does antiquarian with a few other people, but that's also a very small amount of people who do it, and there's a high demand for it. And not just antiquarian, like fiction for like adults and chapter type antiquarian books, but
Okay.
kids vintage does amazing for me. And if you know what you have, you can make really good money. Like eBay prices are higher, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, the big top category, like the overarching number one category for book selling on Whatnot, is going to be your very modern, popular, like romance, contemporary romance, dark romance, fantasy, very popular, new, modern types of stuff in that category. So
Okay.
there's like two people falling in love and a whole bunch of other stuff that happens at some point. That's the books people want. It's like contemporary and dark romance are definitely the biggest. So if you see any of that type of stuff, that stuff just sells in general on all platforms. I don't know how well it sells on Amazon due to the
Yeah.
secondary markets like Pango and Mercari. But if you are interested in selling on secondary markets outside of Amazon, that's the top category. And
The
then,
interest yeah,
yeah,
the interesting thing about Amazon booksellers and even eBay booksellers is that there's more often data behind the decision of a purchase. Whereas I feel like the hard thing for me if I were to do this is like, I have no idea what to buy, even though you just told me what to buy. But like,
yeah,
okay, so
trial
this
and
one
error.
has two people fall in love and this one has two people fall in love, but maybe you
Yeah.
pick this one, not this one. I would have no idea
And
why,
so
but
that's what Goodreads and Amazon reviews and things like that comes in. So I use Amazon as, within my selling business, but it's just to review it and to know what people are saying about it. But yeah, and then Goodreads, Amazon owns Goodreads, so it's Amazon all around. But
Okay. So
you're
you
just
don't
clicking
actually
better.
use like the Amazon seller app. You just like
Never,
would look it up on
never.
Amazon, see if it has reviews, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
just like Googling it, a lot of times the first thing that pops up will be an Amazon review. So especially if like some of these book platforms like Goodreads can be a little biased. So sometimes I do
Okay.
want to know, like, what does the general public think of this? Not just people who went to this one platform, but like people who actually are reading the book. A lot of times those ratings are different. And so, yeah, I just look for books with higher ratings. Like I want something that's like, if it's like a 3.5 and up, I'm pretty much picking it up as long as it's in
Okay.
good condition. And then, so a lot of sourcing for Whatnot comes with, of course, trial and error. Like you're going to buy books that just never sell and never to pick those up. And as
Same
you
on
know,
Amazon.
there are millions of books. Like there are books to this day that you will go find that you have never seen before, which is mind-boggling to me. Having done this for 5 years now, I'm just like, how have I never seen this book? It happened to me just the other day. I put a book to my like kind of my donate pile, and I was like, I'm never picking this one up again. I've never seen it before, but it's not selling, so it's going to the side. But I use the review system. So if you're
Yeah.
interested, like, how do I know reviews? Just go see what other people are saying about the book.
On Amazon, if you use Keepa, I think there's over 100 million used books. So 100 million unique titles listed on Amazon. And the funny thing is when somebody tells you they're an author in real life, you're like, whoa, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
kind of crazy. You wrote a book, but then
Yeah.
at the
Like
same time,
it's
you're
a
like, well,
niche thing that no one's ever done.
I know.
So
Then there's like millions of books out there. I'm like, who is like in their basement writing a book that, and
I
they
was
don't tell it? I'm
friend.
like,
I was like, congrats. He's like, I know you're probably sick of me talking. I was like, no, this is amazing. It's the greatest thing ever. And it's like, the dude wrote a book. It's not that serious.
yeah, millions of people have, I guess, done it. I mean, they must have done it, right? Because these books actually exist.
It's
Now,
crazy.
in your business with selling books on Whatnot, are you more of a singles person or more of a bundles person? And do you think there's a better strategy for somebody starting out?
Yeah. So this is a tough spot for when you're starting out because it depends on what you're selling. So if you are somebody who doesn't mind listing and you have great inventory, it might be worth it for you to either do some individual listings, which is very easy to list on Whatnot, or you can do what's called random pulls. So you just have a set listing in your auction with maybe a quantity of like 100, and you just run the books individually and you label them like number 1, number 2, number 3, so on and so forth. And so then you're just showing the book on the screen. That's a great method. And I do a lot of that. But what I prefer to do is instead of showing the book one at a time and running it, like I said, I did that individual auction a couple last week, and I had sold like 130 or 40 items, and so I had to pay like $35-ish
Yeah.
in fees. That is where the downside of doing those individual listings are. So it depends. Do you have really high quality inventory that's going to go for a lot, and you really want to showcase each individual book and just streamline it that way? That's a great strategy. But for me, with kids' books mixed into my gambit, I want to be able to show low value books at the same time and do the bundling option. So for me, I show the books individually, just like I mentioned. I don't do a lot of listings. I don't like to list. So I do show the books individually, but instead of running every single book, I show it. And then if somebody wants the book, they tell me they want it, and I will put it to the side for them. And I'll keep adding books to their pile until they're ready to cash out. And then I'll pull all their books and go, here's your pile of books that you got. This looks good, right? And they say yes. And then I sell that as one bundle. And I do the 30 cents and the 11% on just that one pile of books. So those are the two reasons why you would do bundling versus auctions. It's really that 30-cent fee, and it just depends on how you want to do it. Again, do you like listing, or do you just go, I've got a blend of books, I'm going to show them, I'll do some bundles. There's about, I would say, a quarter of us on Whatnot that do bundling, and I would say the other 3/4 of people do all individual auctions. So totally up to you.
Okay. And would you say, because I know that you mentioned that you sell some children's books, a lot of different sort of genres, but one thing that we do as Amazon booksellers, Victor and I, we sell a lot of seasonal books. So it is back to school right now. Are you more inclined to pick up those books now, or are you even inclined to know that, hey, this book's going to do great during Christmas, let's hold this until Christmas?
Yeah. Both for sure.
Okay.
And doing seasonal, that there is a gap, just like in retail. That's why we see bats and pumpkins in the store right now,
Yep.
because yes, it is August, but it is spooky season, whether you like it or not, because, by October 1st, everyone's got all their house decorated for Halloween. Most people aren't decorating their house, the week before Halloween. So you are working on a 2 to 3 month out timeline. So for example, it is almost Christmas and Halloween. I have been slowly gathering Christmas and Halloween books throughout the year since last Christmas and Halloween. And I've just been putting them to the side, only picking up the good ones, not picking up everything, but just ones that I can't pass up. And I did in July, about 3 weeks ago, Christmas in July, which is always fun. So we did Halloween and Christmas books, and I sold a ton. It was great. And then I actually have now in my store Halloween books listed. So I have a listing for all the Halloween books I have, so people can make requests for my inventory at any time. And within the next month, I'll put in the Christmas books. But yeah, if you're working a couple months out and you are picking them up throughout the year, because why wouldn't you? Does school not come every year? Does Christmas not come every year? The books that are going to sell when they're going to sell. So you might as well pick them up. If you have the space, don't overbuy. Don't outbuy yourself. Don't overbuy, especially if you're getting started. If it is January, do not buy Christmas books. Don't buy a single Christmas book. But if you've been doing it for a little while and you're ready to start prepping for those seasonal things, then yes, all year.
Yeah, Victor and I always get the question, because we do share a lot of these Christmas books or Halloween books that every year tend to spike in price. They go from like $7 to like 25, 35, $40. And they go, but how do you know it's going to happen again? And we're just like, I'm pretty sure Christmas isn't canceled. Like, I'm pretty sure Christmas is going to come. I'm pretty sure when you go to the Walmart and Target, there's going to be a bunch of Christmas stuff. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen again.
Stop studying psychology, because those textbooks are going to still sell. It's not going to just stop one day. Yeah. And that's the beauty of this type of business. As a reseller in general, you start to pick up on trends and you just learn and you grow. And that's how you become better. It takes some time. You gotta learn.
What would you say is your average selling price? I know obviously you don't have the numbers right in front of you, but just give us a general ballpark for.
If I had to guess, it's tough because my average sales price, I bet, includes my bundles. So I could have bundles that are $100. And so I don't know,
What would you say a typical single listing would go for?
For a single listing, a single auction, I would say my average is probably close to the $5 mark. If it's going on auction, it's going to be between, if I'm putting it on auction, it's probably going to be between $2 to $3 minimum start. And so it's probably going to sell for, 3-4 min. And then my highs, I've had auctions go up to $100, $70, $80. It's not often, but it happens. But I would say on average, $10 to $15. So I would say 5, 6-ish, maybe 7 is probably my average for both.
Okay. And again, if you weren't here earlier in the live stream, remember that that's the base cost, and then the customer also pays shipping. And then again, we settled on 11% fees, and then was it 35 cents per transaction? 30 cents per transaction.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how many times are you willing to try to sell the book before?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah. I have, so what I do is I show the book live. I have new inventory. I show you the book. Someone buys it or they don't. If they don't buy it, it goes onto my shelf. If I deem that it's not shelf worthy, there's something about the book, it just isn't going to sell by looking at a photo of it. You need to see what's on the inside, there's illustrations or it's an activity book or something. I'll put it in what's called the buy it now. So when I'm live, people can shop basically a marketplace within my show at any time. I don't need to show the book. They don't need to ask me for the book. They can buy it now, literally. Why it's called the buy it now. I have to explain that to a lot of people. It's an interesting topic. They're like, can I get that? And it's buy it now. Buy it now. You can buy it now. So they have that option. And then, but if it's a book that I'm just I can put that on the shelf, somebody's going to know who this author is or what this book is. I'll pop it on the shelf. And then for every single show, I just have all my shelves pictured. So I take a picture of all of my shelves. If it's picture books, I lay them out flat. If it's chapter books, it's usually just the spines. And so then they can buy it. And I would say a month and a half. So that's a lot of opportunities. I'm twice a week. So 8 to 10 times, And if it doesn't get picked up, I'll
Then
do
it's
sometimes $1 clear outs where I'll just at a random point grab like a stack of 40 books and be like, these are all $1. And those will almost always sell. That's a big thing with Whatnot. I don't
okay.
know why people love $1 books. That's like a
Plus
steal.
shipping. Yeah,
They think
$1 plus
$1
shipping.
books are like the best deal ever. And
Yeah.
I don't know it's the psychology behind it, but I do really, really well with $1 books. Now, if you're doing $1 auctions, this is where you really need to keep this in mind. If you start an auction at $1 and it sells at $1, you right off the bat are paying 30 cents. So
Right.
you've now taken your $1 down to 70 cents and then add in your 11% fees. And again, the 2.9% is on the shipping and the taxes. So
Right.
you might have somebody who lives in a state with really high sales tax. You might have somebody who lives in a state with no sales tax. Versus you may, if it's media mail, it doesn't really matter. But if it's priority mail, you might be shipping all the way across the country versus to the state next door. So those fees vary. So your payout could be as low as like 49 cents, as high as like 60 cents.
Yeah.
So for
For a
$1
dollar book.
books. Yeah. So that's why the bundling is really important.
Right.
And doing $1 starts can be a little hard for you to truly see growth as a seller because you're wondering where all your money went at the end of it. And that's
Yeah.
where it goes. So bundle or start your auctions a little higher, at least at $2 or $3.
Do you think that most people find you through your listings, like the buy it now listings? Like, how would somebody just find you? Because I imagine the hardest part about this is like sort of building that sort of persona or building that community, especially when you
Yeah.
start new unless no one knows you. So, how do you think most people are finding, let's say, you or any other
Yeah.
person?
It's just browsing the category that you're interested in shopping.
Okay.
So Whatnot does have a really great category system. You can go on. I mean, there's everything. If you've never been on the app and you just like to shop, again, think QVC. There are people that sell plants on there. There's people that sell crystals. There's people that sell obviously like Funko cards and trading cards and shirts. But there's people that do things as well. They do hobbies. There are people who get on there and paint and aren't really even selling anything. They're just kind of painting, and you can come hang out with them. There's people that do live Q&A type shows, community shows. Come shop the flea market with me. I mean, anything. So you pick out what you want, what's interesting
Yeah.
to you. If you like books, go to the book category and all the shows show up chronologically. So anyone who's live will be at the top of your feed. So if there's 10 shows on, you're going to see 10 little lists, 10 little profiles basically with a little preview video of what's happening inside of their show. And if you like what you see or you like their title or whatever it might be, you can click on it. It'll take you into the show. And then if you want to go back out, you just go back out to the home screen and pick a different show. And then if maybe you are like, I can't be on the app, but I'm going to be free on my lunch break in an hour. You could scroll down and see, well, who comes on in an hour when you're on your lunch break?
Oh, cool.
Okay, there's going to be, this one girl, and she says that she has a bunch of this specific type of book that I like. I can see them listed in her profile picture, or I can see it in the title. I'm going to bookmark that show, and when she goes live, I'll get notified and I'll go in, or I'm just going to, go back and click on it. So it's mostly browsing just who's catching your eye, who has a thumbnail or a title that is representative of what you're shopping for. And then from there, it's just your job to get them to want to stick around and buy from you and encourage them to support you over and over again. And
That's awesome.
if you're bringing good quality inventory and you have even just the slightest bit of a level, again, it's not even a personality for me at this point. It's like a general customer service. Like your personality will shine through, but it's just customer service. As if you were working a retail store. Imagine working at a Barnes and Noble and someone walks in and goes, do you have any romance books? Well, yeah, you just show them what romance books you have. And if you have what they want, then they'll buy it, as long as you're not a jerk about it. And, I don't know, I guess I can sell these to you. You're not going to be like that. So just be friendly. And that's how people find you. Just being a warm, inviting person with something to sell.
So would you say most of the people who buy your books are newer customers, or are they repeat customers? Like, what would be your general ballpark for the breakdown?
Normally it tells you how many new buyers you have every time you do a show. It'll
Okay.
tell you because it's just an interesting statistic. It's good to know that you're getting new people coming in. I would say like on a normal Tuesday show, which is a smaller show for me, I usually have at least 2 or 3 new buyers. And then on a Saturday show, I'll usually have between like about 10 or so, maybe a little less, but that's like, I guess 25%. I would have like 10 new buyers, but I would have like 40 total orders.
Wow.
So, 30 of those people were repeat buyers. I would say, I can't remember what it's called, but when you have like somebody who supports you over and over again, like they say in business, like if you can have a handful of people who spend X amount of money a month on you in your
Right.
business, you're going to have a, whatever. I can't remember what it's called, but I have I would say at least 4 people who probably pay all of my utilities every month with their purchases.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're just those types of buyers. Like they're readers, they're avid
Yeah.
readers. They like the types of stuff I pick up. I source specifically for them because I know what they
Wow.
want. And they drop hundreds of dollars a month in my show. And that's just probably, again, I can think of 4 people right off the top of my head that are just like hundreds of dollars a month.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, you have your breakdown and trickle of smaller repeat buyers. But
Yeah.
it's so
What's
much fun. It's so fun to connect with people like that.
what's the reasoning behind the Tuesday and Saturday? Is there a strategy or is that just what works best for you for your live
It's
streams?
I it's a funny story actually. Well, it's not funny, but it's nostalgic. Back when WhatNot started, we didn't even have a book category. We were in what was called and WhatNot, which we actually technically are back in that category, but it's a little bit different now. But we weren't really as discoverable. There weren't really a lot of people in the category selling. There was maybe like 10 or 20 sellers, and we all knew each other and we were all really good friends. And we to this day are all still really good friends. We have a whole
Oh, cool.
Discord where we have a whole book community that we have grown over the years. But it was just us. And so what we did was we basically all just kind of had days that we would go live and we would never overlap with each other. So there
Oh,
was like
wow.
10 or 15 of us, and we would only go live on our times. And my times were Tuesdays and Saturdays. I would always go live on Saturday night, but I think I had like some shows on Tuesdays, but they were like smaller shows.
Okay.
That's what I did. I used to do kids books only on Tuesday, and then I would do everything on Saturday, which, side note, don't limit yourself. If you have everything, sell everything. Try not to limit yourself down to niches. Like, well, I'm just going to do this one type of book, because you are limiting your audience. But
Okay.
nonetheless, I was doing that on Tuesdays and Saturdays. And then as we grew and the book category grew, we got to a point where we, would have people overlapping us on schedules, and we would kind of start overlapping each other from time to time. But for the most part, the core, like OG WhatNot booksellers, we still have our set times. Like literally to this day, there are people who still only go live on their day and their time. Like I know who's live when, just because of the time and day it is. So that's how Tuesdays and Saturdays came about for me, and they've stuck, and I've never changed. I do pop-ups during the week. Like I have a show on Friday. I'm doing stuffed animals and toys and educational materials. So I switch it up a little bit, but yeah.
I
Really
mean,
good old
my
days.
mind's being blown again because again, I'm an Amazon bookseller, right? So this is, I mean, I kind of know a little bit about it because again, we've kind of talked a little bit about Books and Beyond last year and such. But again, it's just fascinating for me, and hopefully this really resonates with anybody out there who wants to try WhatNot bookselling, because I do think there's a ton of opportunity. Clearly,
There is.
Amanda, you've made it. I mean, it's your full-time income, like, and I'm sure you're not the only person who does it full time. But even if it's just like a side hustle, there's still, I think, money to be made if you're willing to hustle.
Yeah.
So we are getting kind of towards the end. I do have like 1 or 2 more questions, but I do
Yep.
also want to let you know, if you just joined, Amanda's going to be at Books and Beyond. She's going to be a speaker again in 2025. It's going down in Las Vegas, which is just a really cool atmosphere, October 10th
It's
through
so
12th. So
fun.
if you grab a ticket and you want to know what Amanda's speech was last year, you want the recording, then again, you can send me an email at joji@bookmind.co and just tell me the email you signed up with to buy a ticket. And again, I think her speech in particular is one of the popular ones. So I can go ahead and send that recording over to you. But before we head on out, I just want to ask any tips for somebody who's, all right, I saw Amanda, I think I can do this, I'm gonna start tomorrow. What are your tips?
Um, get approved to sell. You can use my
Okay, that's the
selling link
first
in
thing.
the description. That's step one. Get approved to sell. And with that, just include all the information they ask for. If they ask you
Okay.
a question, answer it with detail. Don't just kind of skim over the questionnaire. I don't know what the new application looks like, but just like anything, you want to give details. They want to know that you at least kind of know what you're doing. And you're not just random person who just wants to be a seller. It's kind of a waste of their space. So just be informational about what you do, link any other places that you sell. That's step one. Step two would be schedule your first show, schedule it out a little bit, give yourself a couple, a week or two, and just start prepping, start pulling out inventory, figuring out what's your first strategy. Do you want to do the bundling? Do you want to do the little random pools? Or do you want to list every single thing and just have it that way? That works really well as well. So people can see everything you have to offer. And then just start doing that. Start doing the process of listing those books and just play around with the platform, like click the buttons and see what they do. You can't really do anything wrong. So just start pressing the buttons, go into your app and figure it out. And then while you're prepping throughout that week or two, watch shows all the time. Absorb every single thing everyone's doing and just start notating in your brain or on a piece of paper. What are things that you see that you love and that you want to do in your show and you think are brilliant? What are things that are driving you crazy and you want to make sure that you don't do that? And, what are some new ideas that maybe you have that you can bring to the platform or to your show to stand out and be different? What's something that you're not seeing people do that you would like if you were a buyer? That's how bundling happened for me and some other things I do in my show. I do a few things that no one else does because that's how I would want to shop, and people love that. So just watch and absorb and learn what works and what doesn't work. What would make you want to buy in that show? Okay, replicate that. What is taking you away and making you want to click out of that show? Audio issues and video issues are the biggest ones. Like if you go into someone's show, you can't hear them because something's wrong with their mic, or like you can't see anything because all they're doing is showing like a wall and there's not even anything on screen. Like just be engaging. So that would be like the first step, is just figuring out how you want to sell. Start working towards building up your show, whether it's putting stuff in the marketplace for static listings, putting individual listings, or just prepping for the random pools, and then watch and learn, and then do your first show, and then do like 4 more shows, and then decide if you want to keep doing it. Don't base your experience off of your first 2 shows. Also, little tip here: when you're scheduling your first show, try to schedule your first show around a time that there aren't a lot of other sellers on. So try to schedule it where you can have a little bit more exposure. Don't worry about sponsoring your show or promoting your show. You don't need to pay money to play on WhatNot. It's not that type of place. If you're doing something really fancy and big and you want to promote your show so that you can get a lot of eyes because you're having an amazing show, that's one thing. But if you're just getting started, you don't need to be worrying about that. Schedule your show when there aren't as many buyers or sellers on, and just be prepared by having, an idea of how it works. Again, press buttons. I say that a lot in my videos, but it's just true. And I think people think they're going to break something or hurt something, and you can't. Just press buttons and learn what they do, because that's how you learn. So
it's all trial and error. Same thing with selling books on Amazon, right? You try something, it works or it doesn't, and then you just go from there. And I just want to say again, thank you so much, Amanda, for being here. You're going to be a speaker at Books and Beyond. I would say that Books and Beyond is more dominant in terms of the Amazon bookseller. So if you're somebody who really wants to get expertise from Amanda, I mean, I feel like you're going to have a pretty easy time, because she's going to be probably really available, because again, there's a lot of like sort of Amazon booksellers or eBay booksellers that come. So again, I'm just excited to hang out again in person. It was a blast last time. So again, tickets down below. Just any last parting words before we head on out?
Please come. It's so worth it. It's going to be so beneficial. Again, if you're just getting started, I know that sometimes going to conventions can feel like a really big investment, like financially and time-wise and energy-wise, because you don't know what you're getting into and it can be intimidating. But if you have the means and the time for it, definitely just jump in, because I think it's going to be invaluable. I cannot use that word enough. And then if you've been doing this for a while and you're just looking to elevate and advance and grow and just kind of pick the brains and kind of see what's even possible, because I think that for me was a big one. I knew there weren't going to be, it was me and last year one other WhatNot seller. And so I knew for me there wasn't going to be a whole lot of growth from my WhatNot side of things. And I knew that I was going to be much more of a value add to just be able to tell people about this other platform. But I was shocked at how much I picked up and learned from these Amazon sellers, not just the motivation and the work ethic and the idea of wow, books really do make money, but the systems, the thought processes, the ingenuity, the creativeness, just the ability to pivot when something went wrong and not freaking out and shutting down your whole business. fascinating. Just learned so much. So whatever platform you sell on, whether you're new or have been doing this for a long time, the amount of value that is at this convention. I mean, I was just blown away by some of the speakers and what they're doing selling books and how they are monetizing books. So you can't lose. And then it's Las Vegas, so it's just fun. And it's a good time, and the after parties are fun, the events are fun, the whole schedule is coordinated. And also, I will say this one last thing, because this is my one big point I gave Joji and Avery and Steve and Victor, was that the organization, like the level of, this is where you're going to be at this time, this is what we're going to be doing, this is where we're going to be at this time, and this is what we're going to be doing. These are the panels, these are the people, this is the schedule, boom, 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 boom. And it was just so much space for networking and just a lot of organization, which for someone like me is really important. So if you don't like chaotic, disorganized stuff and you're worried this might be one of those situations, for the first one, it wasn't. So I don't see that happening again the second time around. And we're going to be pretty much in the same spot. So it's going to be like muscle memory.
Yeah, we know so much more than we did last year. And then also, I was a high school chemistry teacher for 7 years. And you know, anything about being a teacher, it's like, you got to be like, all right, you go here at this point in time, you go here, you go here, you go here. And so that's what it's like.
And you got to stay on topic, and you got to stay on, you know, curriculum and all that stuff. So yeah, you know it. And it was so smooth. And that was my biggest thing, because if it wasn't, I would not be coming back. I was like really prepared for chaos, and it was not an ounce of chaos. So organized, professional, informative, and very valuable. And I think you'll get a good return on your investment for sure.
Sounds good. Well, again, man, thank you so much for sharing all the details of WhatNot Book Selling. Really excited to have you back. And again, if you want to grab tickets, you want to be there in live, meet me and meet Amanda. You can get your tickets at booksandbeyondcon.com. I put the link down in the description. But everyone, I hope you have a great day. Again, thank you so much, Amanda.
2 months.
2 months. Yeah.
2 months. You can do it. You can still make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, October 10th to 12th.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.